Welcome to Muskegon Rising, a community service project of the Muskegon Rotary Club. Our purpose is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here since 1916. So, let's get started.
Hello, I'm Aaron Maike, and I'm your host for today's Muskegon Rising podcast. We're here with Dave Alexander, the 25-26 incoming Rotary of Muskegon president. Welcome, Dave.
That sounds weird. Good to be with you, Aaron.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yes,
you might get it.
yeah. Well, be careful what they twist your arm on. You might have to do it.
I love it. You're going to have a great year.
We will.
So, as you step into this role, it's a couple months out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved with Rotary? And then what are some of your plans for your year?
This is my hometown because I chose it. I wasn't born here. Many people think I was. But we came here in 1981 out of Central Michigan University, where I got a degree in journalism and political science. I thought I'd be here 3 years as I went to work with the Muskegon Chronicle as a reporter and eventually an editor, business editor. And we just fell in love with the environment of this community, the natural resources. I'm a water guy, so sailing really struck with me. But then as my wife moved in the next year in 82, graduating from Western in education, it was the people. And it's the people that really have held the Alexanders here and made this our hometown. So I covered government, politics for the Chronicle. Those years, I was a Grand Haven bureau chief for a couple of years before I got into the business. And that was in the early 90s. And continued on doing that kind of work until 2015. And I went on to become a city employee eventually, but started out with Downtown Muskegon now. I was downtown manager for 10 years, continuing to tell stories of this community. I mean, that's really what drives me in what I can do, I hope best. There's a lot of marketing and there's a lot of promotion, a lot of on the streets in the downtown. Its change was really upon us during the last 10 years.
Always a writer, always an editor. I love it. So what is your vision for the club this year, and how do you plan to help guide the club during your year? Rotary's really unique in that every year the club has a new president and kind of goes off on that vision.
And I am honored, first off, to be given this opportunity. This is a fantastic club, historic club. And at our point in time of our history, it is a very significant organization within the fabric of our community, Muskegon County wide. So since 2016, we have been a gathering place for business, for government, religious faith leaders, education, nonprofits, and those of us now who are retired, as I am. So it's very much a key organization that I am honored to run, lead, hopefully develop for the future. Because I think that's one of the things that I really want to work on is developing a 250 member. We are the largest within District 6290 of the Rotary, and that's from Holland to Wawa, Ontario, along the western side of the state of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. Very much want to continue to be a leader within our community, but then also within our district, as we have some fantastic spots within our structure of our committees that continue to do great work. But there's more to do. There's more things that will evolve. And I guess I want to be flexible in my year to get us going towards what the new projects are and what the new aspects of Rotary that's going to be there for the next generation, which is something very key to what I want to be involved with.
Building the next generation, that's awesome. I loved how you said Rotary is truly the fabric of our community.
It is. Look around that room on a weekly basis as we meet on Thursdays at noon in downtown Muskegon. That is our community's leadership. It's the doers. It's the influencers and those that make things happen across all those spectrums of the elements of our community.
I couldn't agree more. So Rotary International's theme for 25-26 is the magic of Rotary, unite for good. How do you interpret this message, and then how do you think it will be shaped locally?
Let me just give you a couple of themes that I would hope to work on. First off, we're going to be hyperlocal. We are an international organization that started back in Chicago after the turn of the century in 1906. We then became a worldwide organization that is out there. We have world service as part of what we do as the Muskegon Rotary Club and what we do within our district here in the state of Michigan. But it's something that I am a Muskegon Rotary Club member because of the first word, Muskegon. So because I've been so much associated with the ebb and flow of this community over the last 40 years, I will be very hyper-local, as we'd say in the news business. So that's number one. Number two, I want to stress time and talent within that magic that we have. There's treasure, there's time, and there's talent. We have a very stable financial position, and I thank the prior Rotarian presidents who have put us into that position. So we have the ability to really finance and support financially those areas of service that we want to continue on and those that we may want to start and grow into the future. So we will then be stressing time and talent. So I want our members to be out in the community, engaging and putting their time and talents to work for the good of all. So that's the good uniting. And finally, it's about supporting that next generation. I call it Generation Now. It's those members that are in their 30s, 40s, and even 20s. We have a Future 15 that was just announced recently from the Chamber of Commerce. A number of those members are members of the Muskegon Rotary Club. So proud of that. So that is something that we would like to do with that generation, to them take control, take the reins. The vision for the future of this magic is going to be in their hands. And I want to be a transitionary a sort of leader, I guess, that will bring them to that.
Amazing. The Muskegon Rotary Club has a long tradition of service and civic engagement. What are some of the projects that the Rotary Club has done in the past? And what does the Muskegon Club plan to do in the future?
First off, we come at this time in our Rotary International life with a plan of action going forward. And there's 4 components of that. Impact. We want to be impactful in our communities. We want to reach into various segments of our community that may not be touched by Rotary right now and across our district and across the world. We want to engage, and that's something as a community engagement specialist, both for the Chronicle M Live and for the city, is something that I've sort of picked up on in my professional life. And then we want to adapt. And Mario from Brazil, can't pronounce his last name. He goes by President Mario. The incoming president of Rotary says we are going to work outside the box as a Rotary. And that is 1.2 million people across 200 plus countries and 50,000 plus clubs across the world. We are going to adapt so that we can be in this time in our lives, this time in the history, that we can be the most impactful and that we can be the most effective. Because right now in North America, we are losing members, not in Muskegon. We went from COVID to this time at about 30 plus members, and we get new members every month. We also lose some, but we're at 250 and very stable, and we'll probably be growing that in the next year. But what will that be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when those 20s, 30s, and 40-year-olds are now in control, leading, directing us? So those are some of the themes that I would hope to work on.
That's awesome. 250 members in Muskegon it's an enormous club. It's, as you said, the largest in our district.
Larger than Grand Rapids, larger than Traverse City, yes.
I came from a club, my first club was like 35. Second club was 70. I walk in. It's pretty intimidating your first time. It's not. I mean,
these are good people.
What do you think of it? What's the secret sauce to our club to keep it at 250?
I really don't understand why we've grown. But I was a former Kiwanian, okay? And I was a Kiwanian president here in Michigan. I started out in Rotary in the late 80s when I was bureau chief in Grand Haven, the Grand Haven Club. I was a member when I came up to be business editor because we were going to put an actual storefront, the Chronicle was, in Whitehall. I was a member of the Montague Whitehall Club for 3 years before I came back in 2007, became a member of the Muskegon Club. I really don't know what it is, but there is a secret sauce going on there. Everyone wants to be part of it. So it's the momentum, it's the drive that each of us have to be part of something significant and special. And that's what you get when you walk into that room. The energy in there is palpable. I mean, you can understand why Muskegon is moving forward the way it has the last 20 years because of the leadership that we see around the tables at the Rotary Club.
It is not a dull roar in the room when you come in. It's a loud roar.
It's a loud roar. And that magic that we talk about in Rotary and doing good, that good continues on after the bell is rung and we are done for the next 15 or 20 minutes. There are groups of people talking in that room from various sectors of our community, and they're working on various projects in their professional and in their personal lives that they want to further, and they need to make those connections, because one thing that we can do is bring together a collaboration of various facets of our community coming to one table, and as Rotary, being the facilitator of coming up with ideas to solve the problems that face Muskegon.
Great description. In many nonprofits, 20% do, 80% sit on the sideline. I don't think that's the case with our Rotary Club, but how do you plan to engage our club deeper? How do you get more participation throughout your presidency year?
One of the goals that we have, we're not going to count, we're not going to keep track, but my goal is of the 250 members, each one of them needs to put in at least one service project time for us. And that's usually 3 to 4 hours. We may be cleaning up a beach. We may be planting trees. We may be doing things at the Boys and Girls Club or the Rescue Mission. We may be in a food bank. We may be giving away food in a food truck out in the streets of Muskegon. All those are possible. We want to work our youth, both at the Interact, which is the high school level, and also at Rotaract at the college level, to bring in the youth so that they can see us model what service above self means service. So I'm going to ask each Rotarian to at least once, come out and join us in service, because it's also fellowship. We get to know each other. We get to have more face time that is very positive for our community and the organizations that we are representing at a Rotary Club meeting. So as we get those together, we will have at least one, and may not be every month, but there will be at least 12 service opportunities across the board in my year, which starts in July of 25 and goes through June of 26. So that aspect of having our community projects be first and foremost time and talent.
The next question you've really talked a lot about, which is how does the Muskegon Rotary Club address the local needs of your community? I'm going to twist it just a little bit and ask you, do you have one project this year that you are super excited about that's going to address something in Muskegon?
I want to continue the legacy of development of youth leadership. And we do that through student exchange program. We do that through our life leadership program that we have across our district that is coming up in June up at Fair State University. We do that also through our Interact and Rotaract clubs. So that's the key. And we're going to continue that forward. We're going to fund that so that we can bring more opportunities to more students across the school districts and the colleges here in Muskegon County. So that's one. Future-wise of what would really excite me, I think, let me do this. Roger Morgenstern is going to be the president after I am, and Lisa Tyler is going to be the president after he is. We have sat and talked together with Tim Arter, our current president, about how we roll this through multiple years. And one of the things that Roger wants to do is collaboration, something that I worked on at the Muskegon Chronicle for a number of years. Gary Ostrom, a former president of Rotary, deceased member of our club who was the publisher of the Muskegon Chronicle, along with Nancy Crandall, former mayor of Norton Shores, former state representative, former chairwoman of the Community Foundation for Muskegon County. They got together and did something called One Muskegon. And it wasn't political consolidation. It was governmental functional consolidation. We worked together. The 3 townships, the 5 cities that are 125,000 that make up what most people think of as Muskegon, we will work on cooperation, and we'll work on trying to facilitate. One of the things I'll mention is parks. That's one thing that we all can come together, whether it's a township park, a city park, or a county park, parks, and there's a Friends of the Park group that I will want to bring in, and Roger will want to bring in the Rotary Club to facilitate that group working to start to put private funding together to support our park system. That includes our beaches, our campgrounds, our bike paths, all those things that make living in Muskegon special.
They certainly do. It takes a village. You just talked a little bit about that. So what other community organizations, there are tons of nonprofits doing great work. What other ones do you think that we can leverage and partner with from a Rotary Club perspective that will help you achieve your goals for the year?
They come across each one of the tables that are at Rotary, as we sit at a table of 8. There are probably 8 organizations out there that can become part of it. Let me mention one, United Way of the Lakeshore. And Lisa Tyler, incoming president nominee for the year of 27, 28. Wow, that sounds like a long time ago, a long time forward. We want to facilitate as she goes into the CEO position of that organization. What can Rotary do to bring it to another? Because we don't go out into our employment areas anymore and do the employee things. We're just not set up that way as a society and as an economy. But there's a lot of folks that want to become part of that. How do we help her achieve her goals? So those are type of Community Foundation for Muskegon County, the governments of Norton Shores, City of Muskegon, Muskegon Heights, the townships of Laketon, Muskegon, Fruitport, the County of Muskegon. They're all organizations that we need to help them achieve their goals because we've got the talent, we got the time around our tables to make some of those things happen. So those are some of those key institutions, but then there are also the nonprofits that we want to go out and actually do work for as the year goes forward.
Higher water floats all boats is kind of what I'm hearing. You're going to reach out and help a ton of people in our community.
We hope to, and we need to be more diverse as we do it as a club. We represent, if you take a look at the racial breakdown of Muskegon County, we represent the nation. And that nation is changing. Change is tough, but it's one that we embrace, and we do embrace at Rotary, both at the international level, at the district level, and at the Muskegon Rotary Club level. So I know diversity, equality, and inclusion is being debated, but I don't think of those concepts. There's nothing that we are shying away from a standpoint of Muskegon Rotary Club. We have an active group working on those, and we need to be more reflective in our meetings, in our membership of what this community of Muskegon looks like. And for that standpoint, I hope to go out and work with the groups that are able to help us bring younger people in from a professional standpoint. That would be the Muskegon JCs. There's a number of JCs that are our former presidents. I was not one of those, but they're out there. There also is a young Black professionals group that we need to bring in more Black members in our community. And then there is the Latino group that are out working on the inclusion of their communities into the mainstream of Muskegon. And they need to do that through the Muskegon Rotary Club.
Everything that you've talked about so far, whether it's building our youth, DEI, whether it's DEI or not, it's the good work that we're all doing. I think that's part of the secret sauce of our club is when you come in, you see somebody like you. They can relate to them, similar projects throughout our community. It's really important that we keep that work on, and I love your passion for it.
Well, yes, I do have a passion for Muskegon and for our Rotary Club. And it's one that is very special and very important. And it's that, and I see that next generation, I call it Generation Now, they will be given an opportunity to do a visioning project for our club into what we're going to be going forward. They need to lead that for us, not this 66-year-old retiree. They need to be their 35-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old coming in and helping us decide what they are going to be going forward. And that will come in the spring. So we're going to be working with our district. And there's a whole program that we would do a half a day, probably on a Saturday, in which we'll come together as a club, those that want to join us, but we'll especially be driven by and led by our younger members.
That's amazing. Are we the only club in the district that's going to be doing that?
No, there's probably about 4 or 5 that have already done it. We are going to be part of that. It was one that I have a passion for, that kind of of a planning visioning process. We did it about 4 or 5 years ago. There's been some other presidents, but it always needs to be refreshed. Every 3 or 4 years, things change. And obviously, just in the last 5 years, the world has changed, as we all know.
Absolutely.
So,
talk about any upcoming events or milestones that the community can look for your 25-26 year. We do amazing things.
Okay.
Let's give them a taste.
The first will be in August. I think it's August 20th. We are the Party in the Park. So we were one of the original members, along with the JCs, City of Muskegon and the county, that created a fabulous tradition in Muskegon and downtown in those summer Friday nights at Hackley Park. So we'll be doing our Party in the Park, and that's a fundraiser for all the nonprofits that joined force there. We have something, and I thank you and Baker College for, called Harvest Fest, in which we do a very nice Culinary Institute of Michigan approach to the fall time, in which there is great food, great drink, and great fellowship at the culinary in downtown. We then also have something called Pours, and we just got done doing through about 5 of those. And those are down at community watering holes, taverns, pubs, restaurants, in which we come in and join forces, have a beverage, have some food, have a great fellowship, introduce others to Rotary, and raise money for our Rotary cause. So those are out there. There's one that I also want to engage in the future, and that is probably a blues event. It goes to that diversity of culture. Blues is something that can bring together various economic, various racial groups to enjoy an American music tradition. And we would like to we're going to be having in October an initial blues event downtown Muskegon at Unruly Brewing that you'll hear more about. And we hope to parlay that in the summer of 26 into a one-day blues event in Hackley Park. So those are some of the things of event-wise that I hope you'll see the Rotary brand associated with.
Pushing out into the community so they can see Rotary at work.
Yeah, very much so.
Looking ahead, it's June 2026. The year will go in a blink. What do you hope people remember your year by?
A couple of things that we'll be working on that I would hope would be sustained and continued on. Literacy, and that was Jane Kleeman Scott when she was our president 2 years ago, very much with Reed Muskegon, and Melissa Moore, Executive Director of Reed Muskegon, is now joining our board. So we'll be working with Grand Haven, Spring Lake, and Muskegon. The incoming presidents of those Rotary clubs are talking about how we can do some joint effort on the literacy project going forward. Another one that I really want to touch base with is the environment. We've got a new environmental and sustainability group. That is another area of Rotary International's area of interest for service. And we've done one with a microforest up on Marquette at US 31. We hope to do a second microforest at Rotary Park, which sits in between the Boys and Girls Club and Heritage Landing, to do a cleanup of that waterfront there and a microforest to create a better green space and a better access to Muskegon Lake. So those kinds of things, but it really comes down to what is the next generation want to do, generation now that is already in our club and gaining force in terms of the numbers that are coming in as new members. What do they want to do going forward? And if I can be a transition to what they have 20, 30 years from now, it'll be very much a warm heart as we go out after a year.
Outstanding. Dave Alexander, Muskegon Rotary Club President, 2025-2026.
It does sound scary, Aaron.
Maybe for you. We're happy you're going to be there.
I would be pleased to honored to serve this group, serve this community.
Anything that we haven't covered that you think our listeners need to know?
Again, the honor comes from some of the people that have served before me, and that's where I'm humbled. Okay, you and I were talking about some questions that we're going to have. You use the word excite. What excites you? It's what honors me to get this. And they've been trying to get me, the board has been trying to get me to be president for a number of times. I was not going to do it until I could give full capacity to it while retired. And now I'm retired. I'm now in the position. The honor of having somebody like Otto Seifert be a former president of the Rotary Club, of Norm Cruzy. They have parks named after them in the city of Muskegon. Richard Morgenstern, Roger's father, and Emily, who is now another generation, Emily Morgenstern, member of our club, to have a banker of his authority and influence and importance in our community be a member of the president's group, all the way through the three presidents that I've served since I've been on the board, and that would be Jane Kleeman Scott and Jenny Sprague and Tim Arter. And it's just being in the shoes that they present. Roger Anderson, somebody that we revered as an industrialist and a community leader who passed recently, and we had a major effort to raise funds on his behalf, for our community, that those legacies continue and that I'm going to be in that list of names. Very humbling.
Literally standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yes, very much so.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to Muskegon Rising, a podcast supported by the Muskegon Rotary Club. If you think somebody is doing something amazing in our community, please email us at muskegonrising@muskegonrotary.org.